Okay. All right. See, y'all think I was joking when I was like, I do this 6 days a week, multiple times per day, and today's no different. But you know what? Today is no different. Because I'm back again. Second game of the day, and we're playing the Bards. They're back in town, and the town that they're in is Avernus. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're back, question mark, in Avernus. And somebody's getting married. Somebody's getting married. Yeah, it's y'all could maybe hear the pipes of obsidian ringing in the background as they begin to drone the march of the bride. And yeah, it's I guess it's wedding season in Avernus. And the good news is everybody's here. Um, but before we get to describing all of the festivities that this wedding is going to entail, we've got to do, that's right, the round robin. During the round robin, we have to do four distinct things. Are you guys getting it yet? Do you know what they are? If you don't, here we go. The first thing we do is introduce ourselves. The second thing we do is share with one another and the world our pronouns. The third thing we do is introduce our characters. And the fourth and final thing is offer a vivid, aesthetic, a description of those characters so that they may live in each and every one of our brain holes because I like to vividly hallucinate with my friends on the internet for 2 to 3 hours at a time, 6 days a week, often multiple times per day. And today is no different. So without further ado, Wyatt, why don't you take it away and show the folks at home how it's done?
Hello, I'm Wyatt. I use he, it, they pronouns because fuck the whole government. And I'm playing Sweetbriar, the man of the hour who is getting married. He looks like a bitch. No, he doesn't. He's lovely. I
Does he
love him
look
so
like
much.
a bitch?
He very much looks like a bitch.
I'm gonna have to go back and bleep this in the
Oh
video.
god, you are, huh?
Uh,
This is the
I don't
boy.
know. I probably won't. Hello,
I
boy.
love him. I love him dearly. Here comes the boy. Hello, boy.
Here comes the
Welcome.
boy.
Here he
Come
comes.
down
There's
the
the
No, you gotta
aisle.
do the chaotic one. Here
Time
comes the
to get
boy!
married. So
This
get.
is what Theo used to look like
Yeah, he's not been resummoned
before
yet.
he was he hasn't been resummoned, and that's not what he's going to look like when he is.
Yeah, he's
Um
been absolved of having to bear witness
I can't
to all
believe
of
as soon
this.
as I made the dragony form in The Sims, they're gonna change how he looks. I spent like hours.
I'm sorry, Finn. I'm sorry. Where's the image that I need?
Oh, fuck.
This is his wedding dress. This is Sweetbriar's wedding dress.
Which matches Lilith's.
Exactly.
Stitch for stitch.
It exactly
Stitch for
matches Lilith's.
stitch.
That's cringe, honestly.
It is unintentional, but it is the exact same dress as Lilith. And Lilith, I'm saying this for the sake of everyone. Lilith Morningstar and Honesty Evermorning are the last names of the folks getting married. So,
Should be fun.
you know, top tier hell people who are at the very top level of hellish everything. Yeah, have fun with that. Bye.
I do. Well, I guess that means it's you, Finn.
Hi, I'm Finn, they, them. I'm addicted to The Sims recently.
Hey, listen, if you guys know how to fix the weird dick thing in the NSFW Sims,
Okay.
just leave that in the comments. We're not quite sure.
I went on the website for the mod, and I think I figured out what's wrong, but I gotta figure out. I think I figured out what caused it, but I need to figure out
how to fix the dicks. Yeah,
more, like because it says that like it's a skin overlay problem, but I need to figure out how to fix this.
Yeah, if you see a dick and it looks weird, it's probably because of a skin overlay problem, y'all. Just saying. What you're saying is the digital dicks don't know where to connect properly.
Yeah, no, the digital dicks are like wrong colored. They're just like glitchy out.
I'm gonna let that die on the vine. Go ahead, Finn. Take it away.
Okay. I play Rowan. There was Tig, but hopefully we'll be Tig again soon. He is Satyr. He is like 5'4", very pale skin with many freckle, very speckly boy. Um, Short curly ginger hair, brown eyes with them rectangular goat pupils, um, like chestnut brownish red fur on your goat legs, um, and well, Hadley, you decided what he was wearing because
I didn't
because
decide. The it was decided by
the mother.
Sweetbriar's mom. Yeah,
It was
Yeah.
decided by Mother Teresa,
I'm
the
not in. I'm
demonic
not
woman
in
who rules
charge
hell.
of this lady. I'm scared of her, to be quite honest. When she comes into my head and I have to channel the things that she wants to do, it's dripping with malice and ill intent, and sort of a preternatural expectation for things to go the way that she wants them to, and a violent tinge towards anything that would contrast her expectations. Pretty understandable since she is, for all intents and purposes, the queen of hell. But yeah, you're wearing like a real fucking sharp tuxedo. Black on black on black with like the little tie with a little throat stud, with obsidian, wreathed in little diamonds and a gold sort of clip that holds it in place. And Your cufflinks are also gold. They're the only thing that's not black, aside from this other piece of jewelry. They've got little obsidian gems in the middle too.
Pug.
Yeah. Also, some your hooves are like lacquered black, with like some gold accents on the bottom.
It's like a French tip, but with black and gold instead of beige and white.
Yeah, hooves are made of nail, the same stuff as nails.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yes.
It's all keratin. I didn't mean to raise my hand. I'm sorry.
You're keratin. Sweet. I think that's 6. There's just the 3 of us. We can play it if we try. Just the 3 of us, you and I. So yeah, looks like it's just going to be the 3 of us, which means it just leaves me DMing Hadley, he, him pronouns here for 60% or so of your DMing needs. As the obsidian organ pipes on the far side of this black chapel begin to blast this wedding march. We see you and Sweetbriar and Lilith arm in arm, and beginning to march forward. And she smiles out at the packed church. It is packed. And there are creatures and demons. No, devils. Devils? You guys are devils, not demons. Devils. Just packed. And then other larger devilish creatures sort of standing at odd points throughout the pews. And she smiles out at the crowd who have all turned to face the 2 of you. And you can see them looking menacingly, enthusiastically, hungrily at the 2 of you. And Lilith leans over and through a toothy smile, she says, Whatever the fuck you're calling yourself these days, you better not screw this up for me.
Yeah, I'm still using honesty. You would know this if you talked to my mother earlier.
She's using it. You or something else entirely.
I would rather she think I'm still using it so she doesn't kill me.
Well, I'm gonna kill you if this doesn't go through.
I would rather it was you killing me than her.
That's fair. As the two of you make it about a third of the way down this long processional, and Mother Teresa holds her arm out to Rowan expectantly.
Yeah, he'll, yeah, just do whatever she wants, and
Smart
don't want to get
move.
killed.
As you drape your arm out, she sort of like locks you in real quick and starts moving forward with you in lockstep. And she smiles out at the crowd, and through a toothy grin, she speaks to you. She says, "I don't really know you, but I'm glad to see that Honesty was able to make a friend at all. But here's the deal." Honesty's gonna go through with this wedding, or both of you are gonna die, and I'm not sure who's gonna have to watch who die first. So let's just avoid that potentiality altogether. How's that sound? And she looks down at you, and you see she's got sort of longer features, and pale skin, and just glossy black lips. And her wings are sharp enough to stab a man.
She does them with an actual
Yeah,
dagger.
she has a crisp blade that she holds against the edge of her eye and really gets that like over the top of the curve in the blade. That really makes it looks almost like a talon. Um, and yeah, she smiles down at you, and then grins at the crowd again, who sort of I would almost say instinctively make ovations towards her. They bow as she comes on, and some of them look fearful. Of them almost tearful. You're not sure whether it's just a very emotional day, or if she has such a powerful effect on these individuals. Uh, as you start down this path, Rowan, you look past your compatriot to the far side, and it was a little hard to see from outside because there's just so much orangey yellow glare from all the fires and the magma and the blood. But as you step in and your eyes start to adjust, you can see that this tremendous steepled structure, in the far side of it, there is a huge obsidian statue, and it looks like a huge barbarian esque devil who's like holding what looks like rays of illumination. They're just like almost lightning bolts of obsidian held overhead. His horns are actually less pronounced than most of the devils you see here. And he's wearing like a big war belt, and what just looked like almost skin tight trousers, like leather or something like that, with exposed feet that are clawed at the ends. And as you're looking and seeing this 90-foot tall statue on the far side of the room, you see another set of horns start to rise up from beneath it. And as you do, you see red illumination start to beam up from underneath this individual, and you see their large curling horns begin to illuminate, and with a puff of fiery breath. You see an exhalation of smoke, and you see this red orange glow from inside of this devil as he rises up in long red robes with white trim and infernal runes running down this white sash around his neck. And when he comes onto the scene, everybody except for Lilith and Sweetbriar and Rowan and Lilith drop to their knees.
I would like to make my last religion check before things kick off to call out to an archfey.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be a 19 plus 5, 24 to call out to an archfey.
Fantastic. Can I get a Constitution saving throw, please?
Oh, God, okay. 18 plus 3, 21.
You hear a whisper inside of your head. You're like, I got one. And then you hear, in my house, you would die. And as you look up, you see that this devil holding these like lightning bolts of obsidian has turned and is looking straight down at you. And you start to feel like your body's being wrapped in barbed wire. Sorry, razor wire. And so
nothing unusual.
Again, I think that that's sort of like the thing is that like you've become so accustomed to this that it's just like mundane. And who are you trying to reach in the Archfey community?
Anyone high on the court that he can trade a name to.
Ooh.
Hmm?
I said.
Oh, if you want someone specific, then I'd say he's reaching out to Puck, who is a renowned trickster.
Very good.
And renowned stealer of identities.
Okay.
In a lot of lore, he's essentially saying, like, in a much more formal manner, but I can't process that at the moment. He's essentially saying, hey, I'm about to give you 2 names.
I don't even think you have to... I don't even think you have to say anything, honestly. Not even in your head. I just think that you hear that growl from you know who this is. It's Bane.
Yes.
But after that growl, you just hear like and that's it. That's all. Like that's all. You are now down to the last few rows. As you look across the front 2 pews here, the first person that stands out is your aunt, and she's wearing black. Thin silk, which runs from a set of leather bracers with buckles and rings on them. It sort of splits and runs up to the front and back of the shoulder, where she has this really beautiful sort of shoulder pauldrons made of like leaf leather. It looks somewhere between like leaf and feather patterns that sort of go up into epaulets. And she is wearing a harness which looks like it's studded inversely. and you can see that those studs have obviously pierced her skin, and there's blood running down over her all but exposed breasts and abdomen, where it's obvious that the sort of crisscross at the waist is also drawing blood, which runs down over her scantily clad lower nether region, and she has other studded leather like harness bits. The studs going in, not out again. Run with what looks like a crisscross, almost of like fishnet in blood from the middle of her thighs down.
My aunt is a sadomasochist. No one's surprised.
No one is surprised at all. She's also wearing a headdress from which two like fronds of blonde hair fall back around the back of this thin silk black cloak that she's wearing. Nothing, virtually nothing is hidden. Anything that she does to make anybody uncomfortable is mwah, just exactly what she's shooting for. Which also brings into play the two barbed whips that she has, one on each hip. The first one seems to be a pretty short cat of nine tails. The other one looks like she could hit anyone in this goddamn room with it if she felt inclined. And it seems to be like made of woven entrails, which seem also still somewhat slick and alive.
Not gonna lie, kind of want that whip.
Good fucking luck. That's all I got to say to you. And you are marched up to the base of five stairs, which come to the base of an altar, across which you look up and see your father, who's officiating. He stands about 20 feet tall, just shy, 24, 25 with the horns. And still a paltry figure with Bane behind him, 90, nearly 100 feet tall with the arm up. And he looks down, and I don't know if you can so much call what his face does a smile. But there is a clear sense of delight, if not perverse enjoyment. And he growls in Infernal, and you hear the crowd behind you sit as if at once. The only people left standing are Rowan, Teresa, Lilith, Sweetbriar, and your father. And Rowan, you feel a pat on your hand. And you see Mother Teresa look down at you and wink. And she turns, and her sister stands up, and they sort of kiss one another on the cheek. And as her sister starts to withdraw, Rowan, you see this. I don't think Sweetbriar, you do. There is a cut across Teresa's cheek, and she dabs just a slight bit of blood, which looks like just thick, black, almost dried ink beginning to run down. And she looks at it and looks at her sister and licks her finger clean, and says, "Never miss an opportunity." And the two of them sit down, and they're the only ones with enough stones to be gabbing right now. But the sound of them in here carries in a very disturbing way. It's like night hags at a coven. And as you look up, Sweetbriar, You see your father's eye flick to the side, and the two of them shut all the way up. And he looks down, and he begins to actually diminish in size as he steps forward towards this altar. And he starts to snarl a little bit as he begins to open with a bit of a homily. And he begins to talk about uh, uh, these younger individuals who had frolicked and put off work and done everything they could to absolve themselves of their responsibilities. And in due time, responsibility made its way to them nonetheless. And how overjoyed the family was for the sacrifices that they were willing to make, both of themselves and of the masses in general, because suffering is so delightful down here. And he looks around and closes this heavy tome and seems to put it back into nowhere. And he looks down at the two of you. And again, in Infernal, it sounds like you took two obsidian stones and were just sort of like bang, bang, grind, 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 bang, bang. He says, in a rare moment of pleasure, it is my duty to bind the two of you forever. And he says, place your hands palm up on the altar.
Sweetbriar does so.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he means like this.
Just like this. Like, boop.
Yeah, he do.
Hands up.
He do the thing.
Yeah, you put one hand up. And Lilith actually hesitates for just a second and sort of looks to you surprised at your willingness to do this so freely, given the history.
He does not look pleased. If you look at his face closely enough, he looks completely like deadpan, nothing showing visibly on his face. He looks like he's just like given up, basically, like, and is resigned to this.
As she looks over, she sort of just like shakes her head with awe, and sets her palm face up, like beside yours. And even Dad's a little surprised as he looks down and is like, okay, I guess we're finally going to do this. And he says, by the power derived from me. And he pulls a knife from his cloak, which is just the most truck stop fucking knife you could buy. It's got a weird black, everything's black on it. But it's got just like a weird, ridiculous handle to it. It's got tines and forks and barbs coming out of the pommel.
He's a mall ninja?
Exactly. It's the cross guard here is like swept up one way and down the other with this big bowing blade. Yeah, it's sort of like up over the knuckles and then like down away from the hand. And then it's got this like big curved blade, which looks like it's sharpened across the end of the underside and hooked on the other, like it's designed to sort of pull to do more damage. And he drags that knife, which is almost as big as the two of you, across your forearms at the same time, cutting your arm deeply, and spraying blood across Lilith's forearm. And your blood very quickly begins to run together on this altar, which you can see her blackened blood and your own starting to sort of sink into this relief, which almost begins to glow with darkness. It's not like it's shining illumination. It almost looks like parts of it are
Is it like
just.
a black light kind of?
It's more like if you increase the contrast on something and all the darker spots get really dark. It's like the darkness brings a depth to this scene beneath you, which almost looks like it's coming to life of devils clamoring over one another and bodies writhing in agony and delight. And he looks down and says, "Give your names now, and you shall forever be royalty in the depths."
As it's Sweetbriar's family who's hosting and holding the wedding, he is, of course, the first to speak. So he'd look at Lilith, like arms still on the altar and bleeding.
Yeah,
And
the
he'd
altar
like look
is.
up.
I mean, it is right. Comes up to
Yeah.
you.
So he like he has still has the most deadpan, emotionless expression, no pain showing on his face, anything like that. And he just kind of meets her eyes with a dead-eyed stare. And I give to you my name, honesty ever morning, and all of those benefits that come along with it. It is yours, as yours will be mine.
And you see Lilith hesitate. She looks at you, and you can tell that there's a resounding sentiment of disappointment. And she looks at the blood pooling together on the altar, unaffected by the fact that she too is just bleeding profusely. And she looks and she turns her hand over and just sort of like rests it in that puddle of blood and brings her hand up. And it's, I mean, just dripping off of her fingers, these thin, black, ropey tendrils of blood. And she looks at it and she looks at you and she just hauls off and slaps you right across your face. And the crowd just recoils. They like a couple of people are obviously making a break for it, like from the back, like whatever's about to happen here, I don't want to be part of it. And you hear in Infernal, "Sit down!" And everyone who is standing sits. And anyone left standing very quickly sits down after that when they're like, "Well, I'm not going to get on his bad side." And the two smaller devils who are still running for the door burst into flames as they hit the threshold. And turn to ash, which we see scatter and rain down in little tiny chunks outside the steps of the obsidian chapel. And he looks down angrily at Lilith, and under his breath, still in Infernal, he says, "What do you think you're doing?" And she looks up at him indignantly, and she says, "You would offer this to me? I'm supposed to rule in hell, and this is who you would saddle me with And you hear a chuckle from your aunt, who is delighting in the unease and discomfort of many a person in this room, including but not limited to Lilith. Rowan, what do you do as you are bearing witness to this wedding start to teeter, and with any turn in the future, perhaps come off the rails?
First he was just like disgusted by all the fucking bloodshed, just like wincing at that, and I was just
Fair enough.
he's just he's still got like Squeak under one arm and just like turns to him and was like, this shit's nuts.
Yeah, Squeak's got a little bow tie. Just in case anybody. Also, that TikTok you sent, holy cow! There's a whole account about Squeak.
Yeah, the Squeak fan club.
Oh my god!
Except that was a teeny tiny Squeak.
Very stretchy though. Appropriate. So you got like a bag of popcorn or something?
Maybe you gotta roll popcorn.
Roll for popcorn.
No, what do
I feel like they would be handing popcorn out at a demonic wedding.
Just only a D20, just a straight D20.
Or maybe since it's a hell wedding, it's probably not popcorn. It's probably like entrails or something. I don't know.
Hell has popcorn. You know how the little kernels get caught in your teeth and it's really irritating and a minor inconvenience?
Yeah, that's why. Okay, I literally had popcorn earlier. That's why I like pick out the little bits in there and then I just eat like the puffy part.
I think popcorn in hell always gets one of those caught in your gums. At least two of them per thing of popcorn you eat.
Anyways, I got a 17.
Yeah, there's a little devil. He's handing it out now that things have gone sideways, and you see Mother Teresa. She tries to say no, and then Loviatar, Honesty's aunt, is like, I'll take two.
Yeah. Oh yeah, popcorn time. Okay, Squeak can have some popcorn too.
You gonna get Squeak some popcorn?
Yeah.
Can I get a dexterity saving throw?
Oh shit, it fell. Uh, 10.
Sweet. As you're like holding Squeak under one arm and getting this popcorn, and you're like, how do I? And you're sort of like, maybe if I could just hold it in this hand and reach in with that. When you reach that hand down, you just start to see, and you see popcorn starting to rise up, and that whole bag, which is being like held tucked underneath, turns inside out, and is just hoovered into Squeak's mouth. And you're still holding the two pieces of popcorn, which are all that's left besides the little bit of paper in your other hand, as Squeak looks up at you and goes, Squeak!
Hey, we're supposed to share that.
His eyes sort of roll around lazily, and as they start to come back up and look at you again, they go, Squeak!
Oh, you.
As you say that, you hear, "May I finish?" And Lilith is beginning to berate him. She is leading with a series of expletives, which are underscored by munching popcorn. And can I get an insight check from Sweetbriar, please?
Two plus 6, 8.
Oh boy. You think that Lilith's gonna fight your dad, like it really like it looks like any second now your dad's going to take a shot at Lilith, and Lilith is going to be like, you don't want to be standing too close to Lilith when that
I don't.
happens.
I still don't think he'd move.
That's fair.
His father is the only person he's more afraid of than his mother.
Also fair.
Yeah.
He he puts two heavy, meaty fists down on either side of this altar, seeming to stir these souls trapped in whatever relief of obsidian this thing contains, and he growls, "You will marry him." And as he looks over at you, he sort of cocks his head to the side and he starts to sniff. And his hand flashes out and grabs you by the front of that dress and lifts you up into the air. And he, what foul treachery is this? And Lilith looks up and goes, I know. Um, that's a 33 insight check from Daddy.
Oh, I'm going to die tonight.
And he picks you up and he starts to grow again into his full size, which leaves just like claws rending this dress, pulling you up off the ground. And he's holding you. I mean, like your little head right here, and his mouth is right here. And you can smell the brimstone and the snarling. And he says, what is this? What is it you're doing here?
I'm here because I've decided that being alive is more important to me than what I want.
There's a pause. And we see your father look down at Lilith. And Lilith shouts up, he's a traitor. He'll betray us. There's something going on. There's no way he would come to this hall to do anything but cause us trouble. And as she says trouble, you see that as you're looking down, you see your aunt's whip come unfurled, and as if it was alive, it wraps around her neck and begins to like throb, piercing her neck and throat with these violent barbs. And your aunt yanks back down like she's trying to start a lawnmower and rip your fiance's head off at the same time, and all but accomplishes both. And your mother stands up and begins to conjure some sort of curse. And as she does, you see Lilith's eyes begin to sink in her skull. And as she is dragged backwards down these stairs, now off of her feet, Rowan, you are looking over to the left and seeing this, and talking to Squeak about who eats whose popcorn. And as you look over, you see Lucifer. He is holding Sweetbriar up in the air. And as he does, you start to hear groaning, and what sounds like sheets of ice cracking. And the crowd, which was resigned to sitting down in the pews again, a lot of them start standing up and trying to get the heck out of town. And then you hear a very large and resounding and as you look up, one of these panes snaps on the diagonal and starts to tumble down into the room. And can I get dexterity saving throws from the both of you, please?
Am I at disadvantage because I'm being held?
It's going to be offset by the fact that you're in a larger creature's area.
Either way, that's fine. I got a natural 20, so 26.
Okay. I think that like we see Lucifer's head looking down over you, and as he's looking, we see you look up, and he turns and twists away, and you see this pane of obsidian go slashing across the side of his jaw and neck and thunk down into the dais beside the altar. How do you do, Rowan?
22.
Yeah, I think you take just like one tiny step to the right, and we see another piece of broken glass just like a javelin to stick into the ground beside you. And then we see sort of the reflections on the broken edge of this glass as you look around. And can I get an Arcana check from either one of you, please?
12 plus 5, 17.
19.
Yeah, it seems like Mother Teresa here is doing the conjuring, and she is the one who is quite literally bringing down the house.
I would like to roll insight as to why.
Why don't you roll me a perception check?
Gotcha. 15 plus 9, 24.
Okay. I'm going to give you both of these things at the same time. Because as you look back down and realize that the spell, which you see swirling in layers of black smoke and purple magical illumination, and another sort of orb from which black tendrils of smoke are sort of being exhaled, you look up and see the glass of this structure beginning to break. But then you see something very strange, and that is the statue of Bane, who turns and jabs those obsidian lightning bolt structures right into Lucifer's neck diagonally to the point that they come skewered out underneath his ribs, and he sorry, Sweetbriar, you are now absolutely inundated. And Rowan, I'm going to need a dexterity saving throw from you, please.
It really is the Red Wedding.
The blood's mostly black.
Still,
But
it
yes.
counts.
22 again.
Yeah, I think we see you shift like half a step, and we just see that spire of obsidian just like split the difference. We see two different streams of erupting blood. One splashed this way, one splashed the other. You see Loviatar, and she is just Hercules. And from your position, Sweetbriar, you blink several times, seeing through a soupy gray eruption of blood. And as you look back again, you see these obsidian shards being extracted just brutally from Lucifer. And you see another spurt of black, and he staggers forward and puts his knee right in the middle of that altar, snapping it in half and crumbling it underneath his knee. And we see your blood begin to eke out from underneath it. And then you see he drops you, and you essentially end up tumbling down into the pool of blood, which is starting to rush out underneath the pews as a number of these devils are making their exit. And from the floor, you see a very strange and unsettling sight, and that is your mother taking that sphere of energy and hurling it upwards underneath Lucifer's jaw. And it explodes. And as it does, you see this just like black explosion. And you see a huge chunk of the front of his chest, his lower jaw, and everything up to about the middle of his nose disappear in a single flash. And then we just see this of blood come out like a waterfall. And he staggers forward, and as he does, Loviatar pulls out her whip again and brings it overhead and wraps it around one of the horns of Lucifer and pulls with an unnatural power. And as he staggers forward, that javelin-like piece of glass, he falls right through his nasal cavity, and there's just this obsidian spire. And Rowan, you are standing right between the uprights of his horns, and Sweetbriar, you are being rained on with blood from the open, missing face of your father, and you see those black eyes go from glossy to satin to matte black. And then you begin to feel small flakes of ash begin to rain slowly and softly over you like snowflakes.
It's my 5th birthday all over again.
Yeah.
At this point, Sweetbriar is going to locate Rowan in the crowd and just fucking take off running towards them.
Well, a good thing, because as you start to like back away, your hands sliding on the obsidian in your father's blood, you get back about 3 feet, and Rowan is right there on the other side of this 3-piece obsidian javelin that just went through your dad's head.
Just fucking look at Rowan, just like run, run, just take off.
Okay. Where we're supposed to run to? Like,
we're gonna jump off the edge. We're gonna jump off the edge of Avernus.
I can't.
I need you to trust me. I need you to trust me. Just take off sprinting.
It sounds like fun, right?
I guess.
Sweet. Y'all ready?
I'm looking up the level of a spell real quick.
Okay.
What the fuck? What level is Featherfall?
It's like first level, isn't it?
It's first level. Thank God. Yeah, it didn't give it to me for a second and I forgot.
Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Okay. Y'all gonna run?
Yes.
Okay.
I just follow whatever Sweetbriar is doing because I don't know what's happening. I've
uh,
never been to a hell wedding.
yeah,
I've
this could
also
be very
never been to
normal.
a wedding.
This could be very normal.
It's not.
Uh, Sweet. Let's begin with some dexterity saving throws, shall we?
18.
Not bad.
16.
Got those goat-like reflexes.
16.
I got to pet some goats today too, besides dogs. They
Nice.
were so fucking cute. They were so soft.
Do 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 do. Sweetbriar, you are going to take 16 points of slashing damage and piercing damage, sort of mixed as barbs of glass begin breaking off from the sharp, steepled roof of this structure, which glows in an orangey yellow, darkened state. And you're going to take half that, so 8 for Rowan, as you manage to dodge some of the larger pieces. As the two of you go running out of these huge triangular pieces of obsidian, you feel a faint resistance, which as you hit it, you realize dissipated, not but just like as you were moving through it. And Sweetbriar, you instinctively know that your father's dead. And as you turn around and look back, you see a blue dome. And you can see other devils still trying to escape. Some of them just absolutely skewered and murdered. Others of them seem to be hunkering down and trying to create some like shielding. But your mother and aunt are standing in this bubble, like this blue force field around them, right beside your father. And you see your mother still holding the source of this magic as she looks back over at you and smiles wryly. And then you see your aunt pop back up, and she is holding Lilith's body, and then reaches back down and grabs her head and plops it back on her neck, and then grabs her by the throat. And you see this sizzle of like black smoke and steam as Lilith's eyes open back up with terror, and you see your aunt devilishly caressing her cheek. And that's the last thing you see as the rest of the rooftop begins to collapse, uh, with a just a plume of shards of glass just blowing into you. And as you look back, you see Bane still standing, holding those skewers, blood dripping off one end of them, still. And instead of this look of determination, you can see on his face this look of delight. And then you can hear them, the murmurations of devils overhead as they begin to sweep down towards you, and harry you down this path. This is going to be a series of attacks. Is a
Lovely.
19 going to hit Sweetbriar?
Yeah, my AC is 14.
Great. You're going to take the damage. You take 8 points of slashing damage. As one of these guys goes whizzing by and just like slashes you up the back. really tattering this dress. That dress and you are not long for this world together.
That's fine.
Uh,
I just want Rowan's name back.
but
I just want Tyke to have his name.
The next one, as you stumble forward, overshoots, and both of you are going to get an opportunity attack on this devil, as it, instead of grabbing you, ends up sort of grabbing just chunks of obsidian and tumbling forward, and then is trying to flap away as the two of you are running. So if you want to take them, you can take opportunity attacks.
How big is this?
He's about 8 feet tall. He's got a wingspan of about 10 to 12 feet.
Oh, okay. If it was
I
a
got
small way.
I got a natural 20 on an Eldritch Blast, so 28 to hit.
Great. I think you get, yeah. Give me, what is it? 10 D10 for your.
For Eldritch Blast, it's 2d10 plus 5.
Okay.
Or
Cool.
it's 1d10 plus 5, but since I rolled a natural 20, it's 2d10.
Rowan, are you attacking with a spell or melee?
How big of things can Squeak eat?
You're about to find out. Roll me an attack with advantage, please.
It's like a Pokemon. Go, Squeak, I choose you. What was it? Sorry.
Let's do for Rowan. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, sorry. Bear with me just a second.
To attack with Squeak, would that count as attacking with a improvised weapon, or?
Oh, no. Let's see here. Let's call it. Just roll me a d20. Let's start with that.
Okay. 4.
This again was advantage.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a 2. So I guess it's 4.
Okay. As you blast this thing with that Eldritch Blast, you feel Squeak's jaw unhinge, and it tries to pull forward, and as it does, this thing's claw is coming out, and as it does, you just see Squeak just like, and you see from just above the elbow down, just doesn't exist of this guy's body anymore.
How do you do crit damage again, Hadley?
For me, you just take whatever the double dice is and max it out. So it's 25 points of damage.
Okay.
Which removes
25.
his head and sends him tumbling forward past Squeak, who bites off his arm as a midday snack. And as this guy hits the ground, he crumbles into little, almost like pumice and ash. But if y'all gonna get on, you should do that promptly.
Keep running towards an edge.
Yeah, you guys hear screams from the sky, and you see just, like I said, a murmuration of devils flying around. Winged devils, left, right, and center. And as you look out, you see a very large one, and it slams down hard enough to shake the ground that you're on, as he looks back, and begins to speak in Infernal as well. And as he starts to march forward, he says, and Sweetbriar, you understand him. Rowan, do you speak Infernal as well?
Yeah.
That's exciting. You see him let's see. Hang on just a second. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. No. Too far off. Yeah. As he drops down, he is armored. Yeah, he's wearing black plate armor, and it's like heavy breastplate and abdominal plate, with like very gnarly looking shoulder pauldrons, and black like matte steel on the elbows and gauntlets, and he's got plate down the front of his thighs and shins, and a long plate running from his abdomen past his groin almost to his knees. And he begins to march forward, his wings folding up, as he reaches to his side and draws a great sword, which didn't look, God, it didn't look that big on his hip, but holy shit, it looks a lot bigger now. And it begins to glow, sort of wreathed in black flames. You see this blackened blade with a polished, like mirror polished edge, with like a trim of gold illumination, and then just like smoky tendrils, as he steps forward, and then reaches into nowhere and withdraws a very large black shield on his arm. And he steps forward towards Sweetbriar, and raises his sword, and says, "Your father fell because of you."
I don't think Sweetbriar knows how to respond to that, quite frankly. He just kind of. He. Oh.
Roll me a
Fuck.
wisdom saving throw, please.
I think he's happy his dad's dead, to be fair. That's an 8 plus 3, so 11.
Sweet. Sweetbriar, you're sitting on a mushroom. And yeah, it's an
Is it flashback time?
Amanita. No, Amanita time. I think it's with the little red with the white dots.
Something like that. Amanita mushroom.
Yeah. And you're in a grove of these, just like unnaturally large. There's a soft sort of blue illumination to the space around you, and you can see large twisting trees that grow up, almost creating a canopy that, if it were not for the magical energy illuminating this space, would be just completely dark. And you hear and look over your shoulder and don't see anything. But Rowan, you hear in a very strange voice coming from your friend. You look over and you see Sweetbriar's head tilt to the side, almost quizzically, and say, I, "I'm sorry. I seem to have forgotten who you are. Could you give me your name again?" And uh, as you do, you see them slash across Sweetbriar with this greatsword. And I mean, it's a 32 to hit.
How many damage do I take because of Puck being an idiot?
You know what's really amazing? 7. Because I rolled minimum damage.
Thank you.
I
I can't believe my new patrons.
Because as you are hit with this sword, you hear, I am Nazugan, head chief of the army of death. And as soon as he finishes saying the word devils, you see his
No, you're
sword
not, King.
hit the ground and shatter. And you see his face from behind this helm just into nothingness, and his armor just clatters to the ground, and his body is no longer there. And Rowan, you see a slightly bloody Sweetbriar turn and look at you and go, and then Sweetbriar, you're looking at Rowan again.
I appreciate your help. I would have let you do that anyway. Rowan, let's keep go. You.
Okay.
As the
I
two
would
of
simply
you
like to get to an
run, you are again harried by an army of flying devils. Less, certainly less aggressively so. Now that you have killed their king and commander in a matter of a minute or less. And as you run down to the path where you began your introduction to Avernus, you see this wide, flat, black obsidian disc, and past it, all you see is red.
Is the black obsidian disc perhaps a teleportation circle, or is it just a black disc?
It's, you know, that it is a receiving area. So some people can teleport there. In this case, you were summoned there, almost as if a spell had been waiting to be
Placed
triggered.
upon, yeah. Would I know if it would be possible for us to teleport out?
Not unless you had a place to teleport to and a scroll of teleportation and like a fucking hour to cast it.
Fuck. Okay.
None of those
Yeah.
things do you have.
Fair. Okay. It's gonna fucking. Jumping off the edge really is our best bet at this point. Like, to get away from the shit, but then we'd still be in hell. Sweetbriar would be on decent terms with some of the people who lived below Avernus from their first time escaping.
I can imagine. Not all of them,
And
but none of them.
some of them. Like his dead lover's mother, who lived under Avernus, who understood that her kid was of the Raven Queen, and this is like a typical Tuesday for him. So I mean, jumping off the edge and finding her is a good way to go, because she's the one who got him out of hell in the first place. So yeet off of the edge.
Okay, Rowan?
I have the spell Featherfall prepared and ready. It's all fine.
Oh, you don't really need it.
We do, and I have it.
Well, I don't really know what else to do, so I guess I just have to follow what Sweetbriar says.
Do you want to make a performance of it? Or do you just sort of like grab your nose and jump off the edge?
Alas, fair Yorick, I knew him once as we jump off the edge of the thing like we're being thrown by Hamlet.
Oh, I don't know. Just got Squeak in one arm and hold on to Sweetbriar with the other.
Okay, so we're gonna Thelma and Louise this. Got it. As the two of you link arms and take a quite literal leap of faith. We see the two of you silhouetted from overhead by these flames, which seem to rise up out of the deepest of depths. And as you begin to tumble, you can feel this heat washing over you, wave after wave after wave, to the point that it feels like your skin is starting to boil and sear and peel away from your bodies. And to the point that it feels like there is a fire in the middle of your chest trying to burn outward to match that heat. And as we see you fall, it looks as if both of you are the charred husks of a match that was lit and blown out or burned out on its own. And as we see you fall, we hear that laughter echoing overhead of Mother Teresa. On the other end of things, we see walls of flame rise up in perpetuity. Down here on the ground, the stone is almost molten. As people walk around, it cools just enough to support them. Many of them are practicing conjurations, manifestations of fire, abjurant magics, elemental magics. We see two minotaur with horns, bright orange and yellow, burning. And they are battling with these chained scimitars, the blades yellowy hot, with flames licking off. And as they are battling with these huge curved swords, we see behind them people hurling like kids playing with a baseball, pitching fire bolts back at one another. And very quickly, we see the two of you and then hit the ground, where we see this sort of like undulation of this molten material, which cools almost black as you strike it. And there's the like a hammer hitting an anvil ringing sound as the two of you land, and we hear the clanging of these two swords once more before the ears perk up on this minotaur, and he turns around and looks down and says, "Honesty,
Hi!
what in the nine hells are you doing here again?"
I just escaped my wedding again.
Again? And then you hear the Minotaur behind him go, "Again?" as he sort of leans around.
Long story short, I needed to get my friend's name back from the Fae. And I figured if I came back and got my now dead-ish, not really dead fiance's name and my own, I'd be able to do that. But then things went weird when I fucked some shit up.
What in all
Leading
of
to leave hell.
creation made you think it was a good idea to try and get married? And the other one leans back from around and says, "Yeah."
In my defense, I didn't want to. Um, it was just a way to get a name because of how tiefling wedding vows work.
But your fiance saw through your ruse?
Yes, because I'm an idiot. I'm aware.
Correct.
I have been aware of this. Anyhow, we need to get out of hell.
The one in the back starts to like play with his little chinny hairs, and he looks and he says, "Honesty, um, who's your friend?"
What name do I? Is it still Rowan for Rowan at the
Oh
moment?
yeah, for sure.
Unfortunate. Um, this is a friend of mine. They can introduce themselves if they'd like.
Hey.
Proceed with caution. I am fairly sure that there is that I did a thing.
Okay. Hi, I'm Rowan. This is Squeak.
Uh, Hi, Rowan. Hi, Squeak. And he looks over at Squeak, and he sort of scratches his chin again, sort of shakes it off. He says, "I'm Grimace. What's up?" Hey.
I mean, to be honest, there's a lot that's up going on right now.
Oh yeah. You wanna grab a fire rail and tell me about it?
I don't know. I don't know if I can drink fire.
Um, no, it's an ale.
It's like fire whiskey,
Oh, okay.
but
I didn't know if because like this is hell, would there like actually be fire in it?
I mean, yeah,
it's similar to fire
yeah,
whiskey.
I mean, it's got some fire in it.
Fire glow specifically, I'm pretty sure.
It's fine. Come on, come on. And as I mean, he's just clearly trying to flirt with Rowan. Um, Service, Sirvis. The other Minotaur leans forward and looks at Honesty at Sweetbriar and says, "Hey, don't let him break his heart, would you?" And he sort of looks back to his friend. I mean, you know him. He's an easy lover.
Grimace is a sweetheart, and I want to give him the biggest of hugs. And I oh no. Service is getting a hug.
Okay.
Just as soon as he's close enough.
Yeah, he kneels down, and really brings you in.
Because Briar's still covered in blood.
He doesn't. No, actually, you're not still covered in blood.
Less blood.
Because as that all sort of burned and ashed off before you wham into the ground.
Right.
So
you still got like cuts all
no,
over.
your cuts are definitely all over you. What's left of your dress, tattered and torn and burned, is very little. Although it's not like devils are known for their, you know,
he's got like
conservative dress to begin with.
Briar's got basically the equivalent of a really fucked up, shitty loincloth at the moment. That's like barely holding on to his like hips, and then like tattered lace around his front. I would like to find Thomas's mother. Do you know if she's still living around here?
He says, "Oh, I haven't seen her in an age. God only knows how long it's been." Yeah, he genuinely sort of thinking to himself, trying to figure out what time means anymore.
No worries.
In the sea of fire.
I've been gone for a while, and I'm lucky enough to have been able to keep track.
You don't look like you've aged a day.
Thank you. I've worked hard to make sure that I still look decent.
It's that devil blood.
Unfortunately.
I just found a gray hair the other day, and he splits his beard, and there's like one silver hair just like corkscrewing out of his chin.
Oh, darling, you wouldn't be able to tell unless you pointed it out. Don't worry.
But I'll know.
Lucifer's dead.
What? And then you hear a resounding what? Just like the walls of flame undulate with like heads start popping out. So, like there's like just a wall of fire, a face like a fiery face sticks out of there. Two guys come walking out. They look like they're wearing towels that are made of fire, and just walk through with like black obsidian skin. And both of them are like, "What?" And like it is just a cacophony of people all of a sudden just like, "What?"
Yes, when things started to go really bad, because my fiance slapped me and my father's because she saw through my bullshit, and my father paid attention to her, and a big statue of Bane stabbed him, and my mother shot a thing into his chest cavity and destroyed the bottom half of his face and his chest, and he's dead.
Um, there's a weird like sense of just like all you hear. You ever hear like a propane like heater where it's just that, yeah,
Unfortunately.
that soft sort of like hiss of flames. It's the only sound. Besides that, you could literally hear a pin drop on this molten floor beneath your feet. And then you start to hear just like munching on like popcorn. And you see that Grimace is back there and he goes, "What?" And he looks over at Rowan and is like, "Popcorn?"
Yes, now I'll have some Squeak ate my other popcorn. Naughty,
Oh.
scrunkly.
He looks down and goes, "Do you want some popcorn?" And Squeak looks up and goes, "Squeak." And he says, "Okay." And then he just,
Careful, he will inhale the whole
yeah,
bag.
he grabs like a handful. He's a pretty tall guy. He's about 7'5", 7'6", a little taller with the horns technically. Big, big like tapered ears with like really beautiful soft black fur
Does
draping
he
over
have
them.
any Does he have any similar features to the Minotaur from the maze where Briar met Rowan and the
I
gang?
mean, in that,
Other than being a
and
Minotaur?
then he's a minotaur.
No apparent relation
There's, I
otherwise.
mean, yeah, they're different.
Well,
There's different types. These guys are obviously like elemental minotaurs. They're
Fair.
very clearly. Whereas those guys are
Figured
wonder
like,
I'd
how
ask. I missed
that.
that guy.
say what?
Yeah, I wonder how that Minotaur from the dungeon's doing. I hope he's doing
He's
good.
Ooh,
probably great. He's right at home.
I hope he's doing good.
That and the bug guy, and then I forget what race the other lady was, but the
I think she was also a thief.
The tiefling bassist that was such a
Yeah.
hottie.
Yeah.
Yeah, she a thotty hottie.
hell
Was
yeah,
she one of
fucking
the
it up.
casualties at my wedding?
No, no.
Thank God.
Not only because she's probably still trapped in that labyrinth.
No, because what we'd done was we'd given the flute to one of the undead who was there, had them compete against us. We all won,
Oh,
and
that's
we
right.
all
You
got
guys
sent
all
home.
got out.
Yeah.
I wonder where she is these days. Let's find out. Yeah, there's just this like disturbing silence, really. And as it begins to break, you start to hear whispers. And those whispers start to build audibly. As it seems like everyone in the plane of fire is now talking about the fact that Lucifer is dead.
Yes, so you understand why I need to leave hell.
Um,
My
uh,
mother is going to kill me.
Service looks at you, still kneeled. He rests his elbow on his knee as he sort of looks at you, thoughtfully. He says, "Well, I mean, obviously, we could get you out, but we'd have to find some place that they'd never look for you."
I would be willing to pay you a large sum of money to help me fake my death?
He just laughs. He laughs and laughs and laughs. He's he slaps you on the shoulder way too fucking hard.
Sweetbriar just falls
Yeah,
over.
just like boom, just like crumbles you to the ground. He Sweetbriar should know how ridiculous a statement that was before he even
It was a
uttered it.
joke. It was a
No, it's
joke.
working. He's laughing. He's laughing. He says, "Oh, if only. Oh, if only. Oh, God. Seriously though, I wouldn't even know where to spend it. And I wouldn't live long enough to anyway.
Understandable. You could actually kill me.
You'll just go back upstairs.
I know. It's horrible.
What
I
good?
can't
What?
escape.
No, yeah. What good would that be?
Yeah. I. We should probably try and get back to the Feywild. Our friends are still there.
You're gonna have to take a long road.
Sorry, Hadley, could you repeat that?
You're gonna have to take the long road.
Gotta get out of hell, you have to walk the railroad track.
You're gonna go all the way down. Rowan, this Minotaur sort of leans down and elbows you and says, you know what he's talking about, right? Yeah, yeah."
You're like going through the layers of hell.
Oh, I just meant like going all the way down. Nah.
Oh,
Way down to Hades Town. Way down under the ground.
Correct. As Service and Sweetbriar are having this conversation, Grimace, hey, seriously, you want to go get that ale? The two of them could talk for hours and never change positions.
yeah, sure. Briar, I'm gonna go with Grimace. Just yeah.
Okay, bye.
Think of that.
I'll catch up with you later.
This guy, he says, "You'll really like this." And he scoops, Rowan, he scoops you up under one arm, with Squeak, sort of nestled in between him and you. And he puts this scimitar on his back, which makes a searing sound. But the blade turns black very quickly. And This guy takes two big hoof jumps forward and then slams down. And as he does, there's that hammer ring on an anvil sound. But then you feel him starting to be sort of like propelled forward again. And as he does, the ground underneath him starts to like rise like a wave. And then you can see him starting to slide as if he was on a skateboard or a snowboard. And you see sparks coming out from under his hooves as he's riding this undulation of molten metal underfoot. As he rides this forward, you see these walls of flame start to open up ahead of you. And as you do, you see a absolutely beautiful city. It looks as like you took every instrument in a brass band and made a city out of it. The whole place, everything about it's got this almost steampunk aesthetic to it, in that everything has this very metallic, coiled, bent, organic sort of structure to it. But as you hit the edge of this sort of like corridor, it seems to drop away very quickly into this like lake of magma upon which this city of brass floats. And you can see it's a very active scene. This city, from your vantage point, you're several thousand feet up in comparison. It sprawls for miles, but as you get towards the middle, there's just like huge spire after brassy, shiny, orangey, yellow, goldy reflections in every direction. And he begins riding down this molten ramp uh, all the way down towards this city. It is quite the ride. And he says, popcorn.
Sure.
As little pieces fly out of the bag, and we see Squeak just like just draw them in as they go whizzing past. The two of you descend down this ramp past a number of people. One guy's got this huge boulder he seems to be pushing upwards. And Grimace says, "Looking good, buddy." And he holds the boulder with one arm and flexes with this huge bicep. And says, "Feeling good." And he's wearing, but just like the tiniest of leather thongs to contain his junk. And continues pushing this thing upward, which from behind, you can see his triceps like the size of someone's thigh, and his thighs the size of someone's body as he's pushing this boulder upwards, having just the time of his life. You see other individuals that are, they seem to be fishing. There's a sort of a level spot before it drops off again, and you see people reeling up these absolute, just like abomination creatures, and then just like stuffing them into these barrels that seem to be like molten. It's kind of like putting a fish in a bucket of ice. It's just like vroom, into the molten material, and you go sliding down again. And as you get close, you can see that there is an archway. And as you look at it, it is also an infernal. And it says, "Welcome to the City of Brass" in Infernal. And as you come sliding towards the city itself, Grimace takes a few steps. And as he steps from this molten surface to this brassy surface, it makes a very different, hollow, ringing sound. And oh god, oh sorry, excuse me. And he reaches into a pouch, and he slides two thick leather, sort of like hoof pouches on, and real quickly cinches one side and then the other, and begins to march forward very silently. And he says, "This place is my absolute favorite." And as you look ahead, you see him turning to the left, and there's a bar called the Flaming Ginger. And it you see behind the arched sign a very svelte, androgynous, like almost white body, with a head of flaming hair, smiling somewhat devilishly down. It's almost as if the eyes are looking right at you. And as you cross the threshold of this bar, it is huge. It is huge. There are lots of tables and lots of people. It is pretty busy. There's only a handful of tables that aren't accounted for. And very quickly, Grimace moves in and says, "Oh, yes, seat at the bar." And he says, "Do you want bar or table for you, sir?"
Either is fine.
We should go to the bar. And he moves very quickly and very gracefully towards the bar. And as he gets there, the likeness on the sign out front, undeniable. As you look, and there are what look like four bartenders. The bar from where Grimace sits down, you can sort of see about 60 feet this way and 60 feet this way, almost straight in front of you. And you can see four of these individuals pouring drinks and mixing stuff and serving food. And it's a pretty lively scene in here. And all four of them sort of look around in their own way, and then all four of them sort of back into one person in front of you, and you see them lean forward, and they start to play with Grimace's little chinny hairs. Oh, hey, buddy. Nice to have you back so soon. And Their hair moves like the flame of a match head. And With their orangey yellow irises, look over at Rowan. Who's your friend? And You can see that Grimace is blushing a little bit. And he says, "Oh,
It's Groby from Undertale.
He says, "Oh, this is Rowan. It's Rowan, right?
Yeah.
This is Rowan. Rowan, this is Jin.
Hi.
Oh, hi. What are you drinking?"
Okay, out of character. I've already mentioned this before. I am a child. I do not know much about alcohol.
If there is a pause at all, Grimace is going to weigh in. Do your finest fire ales. And Jin looks back. Okay, fine. You want to be dull. You see, as they look to the left, you see someone down the bar wave a hand. And as they do, you see Jin split in two. One of them starts walking towards that individual, and then the other one walks over to a tap and grabs two large obsidian glasses and begins to fill them with fire ale. And, you know, it's in the name. You can see sparks and flames sputtering upwards out of this glass as it's being filled. And even when it is set down in front of you, it looks a lot like you're just holding an obsidian torch. It also has this really neat effect that the middle of the glass sort of like illuminates from the fire, sort of moving, the light moving through the liquid. As Jen sits down that second glass, you see Grimace flicks out a couple of big brass coins onto the table or onto the bar. And Jen looks over and says, "Wow, aren't you the generous one?" Puts their hand on Grimace's, who tries not to let it linger too long. He turns and says, "Here's to the good stuff." And he slaps his hand down over the ale. And as he does, there's sort of a puff of flame. And when he brings his hand back out, there's just sort of the wisps of smoke and steam. And he goes to cheers with you.
Yep, that. Here's to getting my name back from the Fae. Hopefully.
He sort of tilts his head and says, "You know what? Here's to getting your name back." He clinks glasses with you. As you start to lean it towards you, you gotta put it out. You can't. You'll catch on fire.
Okay.
Do you do the thing?
Pet. Yeah, pet.
Gotta make sure, because if you pour this thing on your face, still illuminated fire, I'm not responsible for that. Okay, you guys signed a waiver. Uh, as you pat that out, and snuff it out, the two of you begin to drink. Can I get a Constitution saving throw, please?
19.
It is a real good. It's got this almost warm honey and citrus flavor to it. It tastes like somebody just grabbed an orange and squeezed it into this glass of like light, crisp, delicious beer. And it's easy drinking. But it's also not like super crazy. It tastes really good. It is just full. Like you got to be careful not to drink it all at once. Which when you put your glass down, you see Grimace as he wipes his mouth and looks into his empty glass, and then looks at you, having been very mindful of how much you consume at once, and he goes, "Oh, sorry, I work up a bit of a thirst from all the fighting, you know." And he drops the glass back on the bar and waggles a finger, and you see a third gin peel off and grab his glass and immediately refill it. And as they set that glass down, sort of reabsorb into themselves. And he says, "So you're trying to get your name back, hey?"
Yeah.
Um, how'd you lose it, if you don't mind me asking?
I was stupid. We went to the Fae, and when we got there, there was a gnome campus. It was like they were pretending to be like I guess like a border control, and like I hadn't been. I mean, I was raised in the Fae, but I hadn't been there in like 5 years. So like I thought, they like actually had to like document travel. So yeah, I just they gave it away.
Um, was that Bar? Was that Bartholomew?
I don't know what his name was.
Damn. If you see Bartholomew, that was him. You gotta let me know, or let him know that I know that he's gotta get your name back, because that's messed up.
Yeah, I don't even know what they wanted it for. They haven't like. I mean, he hasn't done anything with it unless he was. I don't. Do you want me to like go into it? It's a long story.
I mean, I'm not gonna make you. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
What does Bartholomew look like so I know what to look out for?
It looks like a gnome. You ever seen a gnome?
Yeah, I've seen a gnome
It
before.
looks like a gnome.
That's kind of vague.
I don't know. They all sort of. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to be racist or anything. They all kind of look alike. You know what I mean?
I guess I don't know. I mean, I don't really have any gnome friends, so
I mean, I've got. I mean, like I said, I'm not racist. I got gnome friends. But seriously, they all. I mean, like even the ladies, they got the little red hat and like whitish hair and like a beard, and they got like
All gnomes are Smurfs.
no, no, like they all look like garden gnomes. They except for the Gleegi, which are a different sort of like sub race of gnomes. But yeah,
It's more.
you think back and you're like, boy, I guess in a very general sense, they do all have a very similar style.
Well, I feel like that goes for like Fey gnomes, but I mean, I feel like he's definitely encountered gnomes on the material plane that probably dress all different kinds of ways.
Oh, sure, yeah, yeah, that's fair. They still look like you do, like you just changed their clothes, but they all have very similar aesthetics. I'm just saying. Very, I mean, I just mean traditional. That's all I'm saying. Just, traditionally, no, culturally gnomish.
Yeah.
They, after the guy did the bit for Expedia, everybody just started dressing like him, and they want to all act like they're not all trying to look exactly like that gnome. But seriously, they're always hoping that someone's like, "Hey, aren't you the gnome from the Expedia commercial?" And they're all like, "No, how dare you suggest that I look like that gnome? A very different looking gnome." But they're all like, really do look so much alike. It's really frustrating.
Damn, gnome politics.
Yeah, yeah. But how are you gonna get your name back from the Fey court?
I don't know. I mean, like Briar said, I don't mean I wasn't really involved in the plan, but the plan was that they were gonna like take uh, their fiance's name and trade it.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
but yeah, I don't know if that's gonna work now. I mean, I don't know. I just thought that he could just give his dead name, but like, I don't know if that worked.
No, I don't think that's how that works. Because I mean, there's power in the name, right? And he snuffs out his beer and starts to drink again. Sweetbriar.
Yes.
Service and you are having a much slower exchange here.
Mhm.
And as you do, uh, what are the two of you discussing? I mean, obviously, well, you killed your dad, got died, now you're the names and the,
Yeah.
but where does the
I
conversation
think
take you?
I think the conversation eventually goes to like it starts to get like more lighthearted ish as Sweetbriar makes the joke about like, well, at least this time my mother didn't curse me when I left. And since I technically filled out the requirement to break the one that she initially put on me, I know for a fact that it's gone.
Huh? Does she know that?
I don't know.
Hmm.
And if she doesn't, that's for the better, because that means she thinks I'll die in 2 years. And she won't come after me.
Hmm. So I'm just spitballing here. Right now, you guys are sort of cresting, walking down. You
Mm-hmm.
can see out over the city. You can see the guys fishing. Guys is a
Yeah,
very loose term.
of
They're
course.
like like genies.
There's folks who are doing fishing,
There's folks who
and they
seem,
look
yeah,
like fire.
they've got their lines are made of brass, and as they reel them
Yeah.
back in, you can see them cooling on the reel.
Mm-hmm.
Women want me, fish fear me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. The one of the genies is wearing a trucker hat that says that.
My
It's
God.
in the trucker's hat. The brim and the front are obviously made of brass, with wire crisscrossing mesh, and you can just see it sort of like burnished into the top of it.
Oh, I love the plane of fire.
There's another one have a Bass Pro Shop.
He's wearing a shirt that says
Brass Pro Shop.
"Brass Pro Shop." Oh my God! Take inspiration. Oh God. Oh
Thank you.
God
I saved my
damn.
best pun for today.
Wow. Okay. All right. Now I want to be very clear. That was also a collaborative effort. So Finn, take inspiration as well. Y'all workshop that really nicely. Um. Yeah, the one guy's got a brass pro shop. It shows an angler with this like ridiculous fire beast on a brass line being pulled out of a sea, like a lake of lava. And It actually looks like the guy like in the on the shirt is the guy doing the angling right here. And Service walks by and says, "Hey guys, keep up the good work." And As the guy in the "Women love me, fish fear me" hat reels in another catch, he plunges it into this like oil drum sized brass barrel filled with molten liquid. And some of it sort of splashes over and then cools very quickly and then starts to melt again and sort of becomes one with the ground here. And Service looks over at Sweetbriar and says, "So we got to keep you hidden for 2 years. And then you can just, like assume a new identity, right?" Muted.
I realized I muted myself instead of unmuting. I'm sorry. Supposedly, I am on a different name than I used initially anyway.
Wait, so which name did you give a name?
I gave a name that I was initially rather fond of to the Fae,
But
and
not your
had to
true
on the
name.
fly. It was my true name at the time, technically, ish. I
Was it?
I don't know how. Considering the fact that at the time I left home, I had abandoned the one I was given by my family and was the one associated with me from the time I left this plane 3 years ago. I think so. I don't remember what it was, which means that it did have something to it. But it wasn't the one that I had used most of my life.
So nobody's got like leverage over you right now, is what you're saying.
Not really. I may or may not have swapped pacts or tried to switch pacts or something.
He looks at you sideways, like just like fucking Stewie with that football head with
Yeah.
his horns. He just like as you're walking forward, he just sort of like turns his head and like gets in your way.
I'm an idiot. I'm aware of this. I called out to a known archfey called Puck for help and received it.
Hmm. Well,
I was
what about the
going.
magic?
I can still use magic because it wasn't all. It was not all tied to my pact with Apollo. Only some of it was.
I mean, just because you ask for help doesn't mean you're switching sides.
Yes, I suppose not. I don't entirely know. I was willing to, if the need arose.
It's Are you not getting what you need at home?
The pact that I initially made with Apollo was to keep me from being in constant pain while I slowly died for 5 years.
What's your end of the
If
bargain?
my end of the bargain wasn't as sad as it should have been. I was desperate and I assumed I didn't have long left. Currently, my end of the bargain, as far as I am aware and as far as he and I had discussed, was to not do what I did, basically. Was to keep my ground and continue doing what I wanted until I died. instead of giving in to the desires of my family, which technically I did do. But
You're
I
not
didn't for
you're not married. I don't see a ring on your finger, and you're back down here in the sea of fire again.
I
So
did technically escape that. I was concerned that it would count, considering I did go home, that it would breaking the contract I had, and I was highly terrified that if I didn't find someone else to replace him with, he would abandon me over it because I did go home.
going home
So
and getting married are two very different things. And you guys continue to proceed down this pathway until you see now the same sort of brass sign, you know, welcome to the city of brass. And he says, you want to grab a drink with those two, or you just want to come take it easy at our place?
I need to resummon my familiar, if you don't mind. And
Uh,
I'm sure that Rowan can handle himself with Grimace.
well, I hope so for both their parts.
I do too.
A couple of heartbreakers,
I
it looks
think
like there.
they both deserve to have someone who makes them happy. And I have someone I need to reach out to ask for help. And
Listen, you know you can't stay here long, but
I know.
I can put you up for the night, and then we got to get you to the drop.
Thank you.
Does your buddy know what they're in for?
I don't think so.
Cool.
Quite frankly, neither did I.
As the two of you make your way closer towards the city center, we see these structures growing taller and taller towards the middle, towering over you. You can see flying genies and other creatures just making their way through this city.
Lupine is in the background with their fucking.
Right. And yeah, they're standing at the tallest tower looking out over the place. And as they do, Rowan, Grimace has gone from sort of like subtly trying to flirt with you to almost actively trying to scare slash prepare you for what you are in for next. And he is pantomiming and gesticulating and really entertaining. Not, I mean, I don't know if you're entertained, but he's certainly entertaining a large group of people around him with descriptions of all of these fearsome beasts from the Underdark. And beneath the seas of fire, in the stones at World Center, he's just going on. And Jin has turned down the illumination and sort of just lit a torch in front of him, seemingly, as everywhere he turns, his face is illuminated as if there is a fire just about a foot in front of him. And the crowds are really getting into this. I don't know how entertained you are by it, because he's describing every dangerous thing that could befall you on whatever your next stop is on your extraplanar adventures to get out of hell.
So do we get like a guide like in Dante's Inferno?
He says, "Oh my god, oh my god, I love that book. Oh my god, seriously, in the history of
Grimace
literature,
can read?
there's I'm
Can
insulted.
those
I'm insulted for Grimace right now. I'm hurt
can
on
those
his behalf. If he knew you were saying that, he'd be devastated.
Well, to him, I am a fictional character, so it's fine.
I, I'm just saying.
Look, man, Briar would never, but I would.
They say sticks and stones may break my bones, and words may never hurt me. No, that's not.
I know vicious mockery.
Yeah, no, no,
Doesn't count.
no. This poor bastard. He's a delicate flower. He says, never in the history of fan fiction has there been a more popular self insert than Dante's Inferno. It's so tremendous that he got away with that shit. You couldn't pull that off today. If you tried to write a book like a first person novel of you coming down here, no one would. I mean, even if they believed you, no one would think that was your life you were living. And I just want to be very clear: that guy never came down here. Oh, but you need a guide. Shit. Um, yeah, you know what? I'm free. I'm not doing anything. I'll go.
Oh yeah, that yeah, that's great. I mean,
Yeah,
since I already know
yeah,
you.
yeah. He starts to put his shoulders back and stand up straight, and then he looks around and realizes that everybody's still looking at him while he's fawning over you a little bit. And he goes, "What are the rest of you looking at?" And everybody just like very quickly, like you just hear like stools scooting across the floor and twisting. And very quickly the lights come back up, and he sits back down and goes to finish his beer really quickly. And as he puts it down, Jin is already standing there and swaps out his glasses, or his glass with a full one, still on flambe, and looks at you and says, "Another round."
How many have I had so far?
One.
Okay, yeah, we can do another.
Okay. And they grab your glass and wink at you. And one of them goes to wash the glasses, another one peels off and grabs a fresh glass and fills it up. And that one turns around and hands it to you, and the other one finishes putting the glasses down, and they meld back into one again, and then look down the bar and go and start serving other patrons. And as you look over, you can see that Grimace is sort of running his clawed. He's just got like real big mitts, but they do end up coming to like fingers, which have almost like hoof-like nails on the end of them. He could really get a hold of something, and he's just sort of like dragging that keratinous material through the flames on this drink, and being very like thoughtful.
Oh, is he like one of the like the? Because I've seen people draw some minotaurs with like human legs and some with like hooves. What kind is he?
His bottom legs are hooven. His
That's cute.
hands are very human looking, except for that the nail seems to grow in at an angle, and seems to be a thicker keratin that like extends beyond the nub of the finger.
Oh, I forgot to ask earlier. So like, Briar's outfit is all like fucked up. Is mine as well? I'd
Oh no,
assume.
your shit looks fresh to death.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you were virtually,
I was
except for a handful of thin shards of
Briar
glass.
got Briar got grabbed by a hand that was bigger than his body and that
Correct.
had claws on it.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if falling through the layer of hell would, do that.
No, not so bad.
Maybe the hem of like I'd assume like at minimum like the hem of your pants are a little bit like singed, but like
I would say that you've got this sort of like constant smoldering effect. But except for a couple of like thin tears that, unless you picked at it, people wouldn't really notice. It almost has a distressed finish to it. The tuxedo.
What's Grimace wearing?
He's got a big war belt, and a like a cod piece, like some protective junk armor and ass armor. It seems to be in sort of a uh, burnt umber sort of metal material. And he's got on some greaves, just like shin guards, that look like they're made of some sort of alloy. It's not really an alloy. It just looks like somebody hammered together a bunch of different metals and sort of rolled the edges and formed it over his shins. And then he's got the scimitar.
Oh, okay. Kind of zoned out for a second.
He's got horns.
Yeah. Do
Uh,
they normally glow, or does they just glow when he uses like power?
uh, yeah. As you look at them, they're not glowing and fiery right now. They're black. They do seem to still have sort of like a orangey tone almost emanating from them, just behind his temples where they connect to his head. But yeah, you think that this guy can probably channel some pretty significant firepower, quite literally.
Skin color slash fur color.
Yeah, it's sort of a dark charcoal with some thin wisps of like medium gray through it, and sort of almost black on the face, except that he's got real big, like cow eyes, and the irises of which have this sort of brassy orange color to them. And it really, you can see, and Rowan would know this without having to roll an insight check. You can see that every time he looks at you, those irises go wide with excitement.
Oh, okay. So you said that he was looking like he's thinking deep. So
Yeah.
yeah. So just say to him, what you thinking about?
Um, oh, um, just thinking. I hope you don't die.
I hope so too.
He reaches up and snuffs the fire on his beer. He says, "Here's to staying alive, whether we like it or not." And he goes to cheers with you.
Yeah. Cheers again.
Yeah, as you snuff that beer out, we see the two of you sort of raising glasses together, and we see Jin as they break off into their different composite pieces and take care. You see one of them grab a tray and start picking up glasses from around the place, and as we see the two of you grab another round and enjoy one another's company, we follow down this corridor from the Flaming Ginger down towards the center of town. And at the center of town, there is this just ridiculous spire. It looks like if someone from like the early 1800s tried to show you what a spaceship would look like in 300 or 400 years. That's what it sort of looks like. There's a huge conical, like, just gonna say it, shaft in the middle, and these different sort of tubes of brass that break off into these similar sort of columns of brass. Everything's brass, y'all. Hey guys, hey y'all, it's all brass. This is the city of brass. Everything's brass. It's brass. What's it made of, you ask? Brass. That's correct. Most of it's polished, some of it not so much. But as we come close, we sort of turn off to the right, and we follow Service and Sweetbriar in through a large set of double doors and up a very large circular staircase. And when you get to the top, you can see that Service has moved up in the world since you saw him last, Sweetbriar. He is on the top floor of a very large structure that sits in the shadow of this central building. And on this top floor, there's just panes of glass that go up 20, 30 feet in these archways of, you guessed it, brass, which gives it this beautiful, almost birdcage esque effect as you come up into his loft. And you can see that he has this like really beautiful. It looks like something out of the 1970s. There's a conversation pit in a really huge. There's marble on the floor here, y'all. It's imported. And there's the step down into the conversation pit. To the left, there's a bookcase which is just filled with beautiful pieces of sculpture and books and other trinkets. Again, a lot of them imported. And a little closer, there is a dining area and a very large kitchen. And to the right, there's what looks like a little parlor for like receiving guests. And then there is a loft up over that sort of back half of the house, and another circular staircase that goes up to a I mean, some people would call it a workout room. Others would call it a dungeon. It just depends
It's
on.
both.
Yeah, it just depends on what you're looking for at any given moment, really. Yeah.
Hmm.
But as Service walks in, he takes his sword off his back and hangs it on the wall just inside the door, and it begins to glow as it's sort of set into this angled set of hooks, and casts a real nice ambiance, like having a fireplace in the corner. And he smiles at that and takes a few more steps in. And as he walks past the sort of kitchen to your left, he opens some cupboards in this really tall. It's not quite a pantry. It seems to just be a storage for knickknacks and all the little things you might need. And he reaches in and he pulls out this uh, ebony wood box with this really intricate inlay of like zebra wood and brass. And he opens it up and he starts to pull out a few different things here. One of the things he pulls out looks to be a round porcelain jar with a lid. It's like white porcelain. It's trimmed in gold and like periwinkle blue and lavender. These very geometric patterns. And as he pulls the top off of it, he reaches back in the box and he pulls out a little brass spoon. And you see him reach in and sort of scoop, 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 and tap, tap, tap into a little tin jar he's retrieved as well. And then he pulls out the excuse me, cat ass.
Yep.
He pulls out a little brass. It looks sort of like a candle snuffer, except that the front part of it is flat. And he starts to tap down this white powder inside. Hello. inside of.
This is Goose. This is
Hello,
who Sweetbriar's familiar was initially named after.
Begins to pat down this white powder inside of this. Hey, hey, bud, I see you. Yeah. Um, wow, adorable. And then he pulls out a little brass uh, candle little thing and sets it down. And then he grabs a piece of wood. It's about yay big, and it has like thin veins of dark brown running through it. And it looks like if you were rough with this stuff, you could just crumble it into a powder. And as he pulls out what looks like a almost like a cheese grater, he pulls out a little piece of paper and sets it down, and then grabs this cheese grater and starts like grinding up this wood. And as he does, the aroma in here changes significantly. It becomes rich and earthy and sweet and spicy. There's a honeyed, like almond aroma in the air, but there's also this like cumin and paprika and sandalwood, and it's just hanging lightly in the air. And as he grinds and grinds and grinds, he begins to hum. And you're almost transfixed as you listen to him, Sweetbriar. And he grabs he taps off that piece of wood. He's ground down about half of it, and he puts it back in the box, and he taps with that little brass flat, long handled device the rest of this wood from this grinder, and sets it back inside the box. And then he sort of folds this paper in half and begins to tap it into that little brass cutout emblem, and then reaches in with that little tamper and taps it all down. And then he boop boop 2 little times on the top and pulls off this guide, leaving this intricate knotwork of the powder that he's created from grinding this wood on top of this pure white powder inside of this jar. And he reaches into the box and grabs a match and lights it with his keratinous nail and hands you the match and says, "Call your friend."
Which friend is he referring to?
You're familiar.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he'll do that then. Theo, he will summon Theo, and Theo will appear this time as a small three-headed dog who looks like the one that I sent in the Bards chat earlier.
It's going to take an hour for that.
Yes.
Which is also going to include him doing this a number of other times for you over the course of that hour. And each one of these sort of lasts about 20 to 30 minutes. So we'll call it 20 minutes. So at the end of the third one, as we see you now just like a little emotional about it, this is Finding Familiar is one of the most underappreciated spells that you have to do in the game, because it really is something focused and something energetic, and it is demanding. I think it was like 10 gold.
Yeah, Find Familiar is yeah, it costs 10 gold pieces worth of charcoal, incense, and herbs that must be consumed by fire in a brass brazier.
Yeah. So
And considering that familiar is also like a part of yourself, it's a taxing process.
Right. But as we see you sort of sitting in that conversation pit, just like tears starting to roll down your face, we see the last little wisp of that incense start to finally finish its last curl upward. And as that smoke stops and dissipates, you feel three little tongues lapping at your tears, and feel two big paws against your chest, as you hear in triplicate, and you hear a loud oh, you would summon that beast, wouldn't you? And I want to be very clear by way of size. Theo is about as big as Sweetbriar.
Oh my god, you're letting me have him that big?
Oh, oh, I mean, like with the heads, he's bigger. He's not quite large enough for you to ride on.
I'm I was thinking like,
No,
so my dog was like 20 to 30 pounds. I was thinking like small.
no,
Thank God. Okay, I'm happy about this.
no. This thing is like three hellhounds in one. Because you're like what, 5 feet? How big are?
With his horns, he's 5 foot. Without them, he's like 4 foot, like 8, 4'9".
Yeah, this thing in a seated position is that tall.
My dog is bigger than me. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's got three heads. You need a lot of dog
Yeah,
to
he's getting a lot of snuggles.
to have.
He's getting a lot of snuggles once the spell is cast, like is
Uh,
finished and he's done being summoned. Briar is like so tired. He's had a fucking day. He had to dissipate his familiar, which is more exhausting than summoning it.
it's emotionally taxing. That's for goddamn sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's fucking tired and he's just happy to have Theo back.
As we see Service walk over and start to scrumple each of these heads, we pan out of these huge windows which look down into the plaza around this larger structure, and then upward again as it just climbs and climbs upward, pointing almost towards home for Sweetbriar. And I think we see there's a strange sort of illumination. There's still fire everywhere. But Rowan, as you and Grimace walk out from the doors of the Flaming Ginger, it seems like night has fallen. The flames don't seem as aggressive. They're not as bright and brilliant. The reflections on the buildings don't seem as just bombastic. And as the two of you start to, Grimace is staggering ever so slightly. And I think that Rowan, you're probably still in a very similar sort of like, I'm not like drunk, but I'm not so. And as we follow the two of you down the street, Grimace looks ahead and says, I don't. I wish you could stay a little longer, but I'm glad that I could get to go with you, hopefully. What comes next is a kind of a pain in the ass, but with a big, strong guy like me, and he flexes his big, furry bicep, you'll be just fine. And he sort of gives you a little across the chin nudge. and he drapes his arm over you and says, "It is okay if I flirt with you, right?"
Yeah.
It is good. And then he reaches down and he pinches your ass. And as he does, he starts to run forward, expecting some sort of retribution. And I think as we see you pursue him at whatever pace you deem necessary, we sort of pan back upwards and we see that tower. And as we zoom in, we sort of rise up to the very top of it, looking down over this tapered cylinder. And as we get to the top, there's a stark contrast in the coloring, and we can see this point at the very top that seems to have an uncanny darkness about it. And as we dive back down, we are surrounded now by that darkness. And it seems to expand out farther than this building could contain. And as we delve deeper, it almost feels like the pressure of it is weighing us down. And as we delve deeper, we can now start to see these deep, deep shades of midnight blue against the darkness. And as we delve even further, we can begin to see the soft illumination of blue mushrooms growing up wildly from the walls around us. And as we delve even deeper, we can start to see the reflection of those mushrooms in a pool of water. And as we look at that reflection, it begins to ripple, and we see two eyes on stalks begin to look upwards towards us. That is where I'll leave you to.
Snail?
Why is this the snail that stalks you for
No.
500 years to try?
No,
Okay,
no.
good.
No, it's far worse. You wish it was
Oh,
the
God.
snail,
Oh god.
because then it would all be over quickly.
Yeah.
But not this
Okay.
time. Not with me.
Brilliant.
The lich snail from Adventure Time.
Yes.
The lich snail.
I'm
Now I have to do
gonna
research.
I'm gonna bop off because my roommate needs to sleep
Well,
and I'm very tired.
Great, because I have to bid you adieu and au revoir and remind you,
Oh,
as
yay.
always, to be good, to take care of yourselves, and if you can't be good, don't get caught. Good night, everybody.
Thank you so much for the session, Hadley.
Bye, y'all.
This
Happy
was enjoyable. Good
weddings.
night.
Bye.
Hopefully the next one doesn't go this bad.
We'll
Bye.
find out.